conflict of interest, I think, is something that needs to be discussed here. Mr. Kennedy represents Region 10, and I think there's policy 4112010 for the City of Grand Junction Code. Makes this one statement. There's more to it, but the appearance of a conflict of interest may be harmful to public confidence in its government as an actual case of misconduct. And through some core requests, there's been some transparency that, yeah, I am part of this Region 10, but there's also been some other emails that have been interesting, and one even by, I'll read it here. Hi, this is from Greg Canton to Chris Kennedy. I wanted to touch base with you in regards to this request. In the procurement process, it is unusual for a council member to review one vendor's proposal from an RFP, and specifically a vendor that staff is not recommending. So I wonder if there's something specific that I can help answer. Thank you, Greg. That was on October 1st. Emails go by. A few weeks later, I believe, Councilman, you are asking for somebody's private email address to send this exact contract to. In my core request, I couldn't get access to this contract, but here you are sending it out to private email addresses. There's a lot of concern, conflict of interest, and the appearance of it. And then if anybody here on the council has Nokia stock, I think that should be obviously at least expressed and so that people know it's you have a pecuniary interest in potentially this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. I've disclosed my employment with Region 10, and it's a nonprofit organization that's a consortium of governmental entities that represent the 6 counties that make up Region 10. Region 10 posted a position for a broadband project director to implement a middle mile open access project to build broadband out to rural communities who are starved for service. That's what I do. I disclosed that employment as soon as they got it. It's on record with John. I disclosed it to this entire council, and if there has been any reason for anybody on council or city staff to question or to ask me to recuse myself from any decisions being made, they've had the opportunity to do that. Nothing that I do with Region 10 has any influence on what goes on in the decisions I make as a city council member for the interest of the city. The reason for the request that I made of Greg for the second proposal was because I was also part of the committee before Greg took on the role of city manager that was reviewing RFPs from all of the potential partners with the city. I was interested in, and when Greg came on to the role as city manager, he requested to bring that process to city staff only, and I was more than happy to do that. But having seen all of those proposals, I was interested in why, and we've had this conversation both in public and in other meetings. I was interested in why the staff was going with the Sci-Fi Nokia proposal over a couple of others that seemed more in line with what the council had agreed they wanted to do, which was a middle-of-the-road, shared risk, owned network with more capital in the game. What came from that conversation was that Greg's interpretation from council was they were going to be more risk-averse into putting actual capital into a project that could be funded in the private sector, even if guaranteed by the council. So I wanted to compare that RFP to the Sci-Fi Nokia one. I have and there was no other email communication that happened to private email or otherwise. I made an offer to do that. It was never acted upon. You want to come after all of my personal emails, have at it. You know, I have nothing to hide. I serve at the on the city council at the pleasure of the population of this city. They can, if you want to recall me, have at that as well. The decisions I'm making here are about moving the city forward in a 21st century technology environment, and I'm passionate about that. That's what I do 24 hours a day. I want to bring that expertise and knowledge to help move the city forward. I understand the very fiscally conservative arguments about the risk of the $70 million piece, but I have a different viewpoint on what that actual risk is. I don't philosophically agree with the assumptions that are made with that argument about take rate, the ability of the network to succeed, and what that network means to the future growth of the city. I appreciate your concern, and you're looking out for the interests of the city as you see fit. I have nothing to hide. I'm not hiding anything, and I'm more than willing to, have that conversation in any place or time. Would have appreciated maybe a call to just ask me directly. Would have shared the same information with you.
And Mayor Norris,
Yes.
very briefly, if I might, we have written disclosure from Councilmember Kennedy that is of record.
Okay. Thank you very much.